Hello there, creative peeps. Are you ready to get started with this month's project? It is summertime fun time, and we are going to get messy and have some fun making some monoprint backgrounds. I'm entering this not having a clue what direction I'm going to go with this, but I want to show you a few different options of things that you can do. Again, no art skills required. We are not looking to become artistes in this. We are just looking to be creative and to relieve some of the stress of life and just to grow as a person in general. And so join me, grab your supplies. If you haven't watched the first video in the last post, go back and watch that to find out what you need to grab. This is month 7 of our 12 months of wholeness through creativity. So let's get started. I've taken 3 sheets of the 10 by 7 mixed media paper. This is a 98-pound mixed media paper. I've taken them out of the book and scored them in half, giving me 5 by 7 pages, which are the same size as the gel plate that I'm going to be using. Most of the time, as you can kind of tell from some of these others, I just work in the pad. I don't tear the pages out. I just work in the pad itself. It doesn't make any difference which way you work. A lot of times I just kind of use that as a journal and just play in there. But I'm going to make these specific sizes today just to make working a little bit easier. And I'm going to work with 2 different colorways. I did several red, white, and blue things yesterday for the 4th of July. I love celebrating freedom, so I'm going to stick with some red and blues. This is Barn Door and Salty Ocean from the Distress Paint line of Tim Holtz. These are a more liquidy paint than the others that I'll be working with, but I'll use those 2 colors. I've got the London Blue of the Dilutions and the, not that one, let's go with the Postbox Red. I'll probably bring in some white to brighten things up, the white linen from Dilutions. And I might bring in some of the vanilla custard. I've done some pages with the red, blue, and the vanilla custard that I like. With my other colorway, I'm going to stick with the blues, but I'm going to bring in some greens to go with it. And this will be the Cracked Pistachio. And I might end up adding in some cut grass with that too. We'll see what happens as we get started. Now, I've already got some red residue on my gel plate here, so I'm going to add some blue to that and start with a red and blue. Now, the one thing you want to remember with this is that what goes onto your gel plate first is going to be the top layer of what you print. And so you generally do want that to be darker, but you don't want it to cover everything. So just think about that. Red is always going to pop, and there's going to be very little that can actually cover it. So keep in mind how your colors work as you put them together. But on the other hand, just have some fun and play. So I'm going to start adding some blue over this, and we'll see where we go. These come in the dauber tops, which isn't ideal, but I haven't got any of this just squeeze tops, regular pouring out, that fit on these bottles, so I haven't replaced them yet. So I just got to kind of dab this on. Okay, so we dab it on, and we brayer it. You want to run your brayer one direction, not back and forth, because you want to get ink all over it either way on your plate. If you want it all over, you can roll it both ways. Usually you will just run this off on a different page. Let's put it on the back here. Now, Diane Reevely, when she works on her pages, she usually starts by just brayering that excess off onto a page that you're going to use. You definitely want to roll it off. You can do it on a scratch paper that will end up maybe being a sheet that you use later for something, or you can use it on one of the pages of your journal. Here's one that I've used many times, many different colors, just wiping that off there. But I need to keep working here. Let's see, let's put some texture into this. I'm going to use the comb and just make some designs rolled through that. Again, remember, whatever is on the top of our layer here is going to be at the foundation underneath what we do. So let's see, I want to add one more thing to this. Let's add a stencil. And the thing with adding a stencil is that you can get two different prints out of this. You're going to get the first one, which is going to usually be darker, and you can get that by leaving your stencil on and just laying your paper over it, rubbing, or using a brayer. This is where I usually bring in my bigger brayer that doesn't have paint all over it. And so you can get your first print that way. And then we're going to go for our second print, taking that off and laying it down and pressing it onto our paper. Okay, that one just brought a faint tinge of the red out, not very much. There's just a tinge of the red in there, so we'll be adding more things to that. Then we go on to our next paper, and like I said, the thing about this is we want to work quick. We want to just play and have fun with this. So I'm going to add a little bit of a darker blue. These are fast drying paints, especially the dilutions, so you want to work fast and kind of have an idea what you're going to do before you get started. So again, let's see, what can we, let's roll some of that darker blue in some of the white places on here. Let's use this. This is just a stencil that I cut out of cardstock. And it's not going to hold up the greatest, but it will work for now. And it gives me both the stencil and the mask. And there we've got the dark stars on that page. And let's go with a clean page for our next. Pull our stencil off. And look at that pretty print that we've got there. I may just end up gluing that onto another page because I love that. But we'll see if we can get a pull out of this one. And if not, we'll add another layer over it and go again. Nope. So we're just going to add another layer to the top of that. Let's see, what color shall we go with? I think the red will be too dark. I think I'm going to go back to my light blue. And as these other layers dry on here, you're able to put on a new color without it mixing with the others, and that will then become your new background color. Let's roll this. And let's give this a print. You know what, I'm going to put one more design in the background of that just to get some of that off. This, I'm going to use the shelf liner just to get a little texture and remove a bit of that paint. And here we go again. Rub that, see if we can get some of that red that was in the stars to show up on this layer. A little bit. Again, we've got quite a bit of the blue on there. I think I am going to bring in some of this vanilla custard and see what that does next. And what you see here is probably about what you're going to get on your print, depending on how well it picks up all of the little crusty pieces from previous layers. And okay, we got a different pull there because that vanilla custard really came out. Let's add some more of it to this layer. And then obviously, maybe not obviously to you, but to me, this needs more of the red in here. And I am going to come through, let's see if I can figure out what way I had the stencil on here. And I am going to do a little bit of stenciling through my star holes here. So let's put that down. And I want it really pretty light, so I'm going to use a dauber. This is kind of like the makeup wedges. With these, you want to just lightly tap up and down. And because I don't want to ruin this print, I don't want to go too much on the outside of it because I want to be able to keep my stencil to use as another background. So if you go over it more than one time, you will get a darker print. Better to go over it a couple of times than to use too much paint the first time. because if it seeps under your stencil, then you're going to have a mess. So this is one of the ways that you can use a stencil. I'll show you a couple others in a bit. And I want just a little bit here because I like that little bit of green that's showing through. With a stencil, you can just kind of lift it up and that's going to show you what it looks like. I like that. So I will probably stop on that one for there. Let's see, I can wipe off some of this red in different places, giving me more of my background there. Let's see. Let's go with my little bit darker blue. You know what, I'm going to go with my white, and I'm going to go back to this and see if I can get some more color back on there to cover up some of that vanilla custard. So obviously this is going to mix in with my red a bit. I am going to, let's see, let's use the round stencil. When you don't like a layer, all you do is just add a new one over the top of it. Not all colors are going to show up real well, so you just keep adding layers until you're happy with the background, or if you don't know what to do, there. I really like how that colored in. Obviously, it made my red more of a pink, and that's just to be expected. But like I said, even if you don't like a background, if you don't know what to do next, just leave it. We're not finishing anything here. We're just working and getting some backgrounds ready to work on another day. Nothing has to be completed or finished in this setting. That'll be a good start. Notice that also turned kind of green when we mixed the custard and the blue together. A yellow and a blue is going to create a green, so we've got some of our green going in there, but that is okay because we're going to be using green on some of the other pages anyhow. Now, I think I do want to go back in and let's see. Let's get another stencil going on this, and I know which one I want if I can find it here. I'm going to use my background stencil and probably just add some more red. And this time I'm going to use one of my foams on my handle. You find the red one. And with these foams, they don't get ate up quite as bad by your stencils as the makeup wedges do. You want to, I don't know if you can see that, want to swirl it around to make sure it covers the foam everywhere. And I'm just going to, this one I can go back and forth over my stencil a little bit. The other ones, you really want to go up and down so you don't rip them up or get ink underneath So that brightens that page back up. Happy with that. Let's see what else we can do. This one needs some more blue. I've got a blob of red on there. Let's go with our darker one because there's some white on there too, so I think we'll be okay with that. I'm gonna try not to go over that red area a whole lot. Just want a thin layer over it and a little bit more here. Let's see if I can find some Okay, let's see if I can find a texture we haven't used yet. Let's use the bubble wrap. And we'll get a nice little polka dot background here. Okay, let's do some things with our smaller gel plates. Let's add the red again, and let me find what I want to use in it, because once you put your paint down, you need to be ready to make your pool before your paint dries. Let's make sure there's not residue on my brayer. And for some reason this red is really super thick, and I think something's wrong with it, but we're going to get some red stripes. And I don't want to lay this whole square down, and also the very first pools are going to be pretty juicy, so I'm just going to tap it in a few places to get some marks on here. We've got a background anyhow, and now that some of the paint's been removed, if I'd pushed too hard in the beginning it would have just blurred all those stripes and you wouldn't have seen them, but now that most of the paint is off I can push harder and it should show up better, except for I'm almost out of paint there, so we'll add a little bit more. Brayer it on. And I think I should be fine on this one because I don't have a whole lot of paint in there, so I should be able to get a okay pool the first time. Just add a little more of the red in stripes. There. let's see. I'm not sure what else I want to do to this page. So we'll call it good for now. And we'll go back to this one and see what else I might want to do with it. Let's add a little bit of this more translucent red. And I'm going to grab another stencil here. And I'm just going to see if I can stencil a few stars without getting into the other things there. Yeah, they're not going to look like stars, but they're going to give me some red spots anyhow. That is the whole thing here. We are just playing and seeing what happens when we do various things. What works, what doesn't, what looks like we want it to, what doesn't. Let's go back to this stencil and let's put it on again by just rubbing through. Looks like we've got some great blue circles on there for our next pulls. Notice I get much more distinction with this using the foam blender brush. There we go. I am happy with both of those. Let's do one more thing, hopefully not ruin it. And I am going to take a baby wipe and I'm going to pick up a little bit of this red paint with it and just do some swipes on this page, just to add a little bit in the background. Okay, and let's try to get some of this red off of my plate before I mix the green in with it. Let's see what's going to be the best way. Let's go with this blue again over it. Let's go over the whole thing. Maybe we'll get some of those circles that were on our stencil that we used before. Let's take a comb through it, do a little bit of cross hatching. And we'll see if we love it or hate it, if we made it better or worse. Yeah, made it pretty dark. So I will go back over that after it dries a little bit more, but it did get a lot of that red up. So let's go in with some of our green now, and we'll start working on the back sides of those. Now, if I was in, let's get the red off the brayer here. Lots of red left on it. If I was working in my journal, I would just be turning pages and doing like every other page with that colorway, and then I'd come back in and do the rest of the pages with the other color that I'm going to start with now. Just giving some variety and color in my book so that all the pages aren't the same colors, but yet they don't horribly clash with each other. Okay, let's grab the backs and we can do some cleaning off of the brush. Notice we've got a little bit of that red still coming through, but it's not mixing with the green and making it too brown. Let's see. Let's use this flower stencil and use this page. You can either press hard. The more detailed your stencil is, the more you've got to press hard to get the paper to go down in each crease. So you don't want to use too detailed of a stencil. The same is going to be true of when you use the stamps. But a good background stencil like this usually works pretty well. And yep, I'm happy with that. And then we take the stencil off and we can get a second print from that again, from the reverse side of the stencil. Gives us two different looks from that. We've got just a little bit of flowers still on there. We'll see if any of them come through. Yep, got good pulls out of that one. Okay, I'm going to use another stencil to add a bit more design to this. I think I will use this one with my bright London blue. And again, I'm going to use my Distress blender with the foam. And we're just going to add some splashes around on this page. Yeah. Go. Let's see. What do we want to use on the next one? What haven't I used here yet? Let's grab let's see. think I know what I want to do with this one. Let's put some boxes over this one. See if I can line these back up. Get a little bit better. Since I was almost out of ink there, or paint. There we go. And let's see, I've still got quite a bit of that blue on there. Let's see if it's enough to make a print. Yeah, not really. Gives us a little bit, but not a whole lot. Okay. And it'll be a good background on that one. Well, I know what I want to do with this one, so let's bring that in. I am going to bring in just a little bit darker blue. This is called Balmy Night. Wipe off some of that on the sponge, but since they're both blues, I'm not going to be too worried about it. And let's add some little raindrops. There we go. Okay. We have this half page, these two white pages left to do. Let's add just a tidge of our darker green to this and put some pattern in. And let's see. Let's use this other shelf liner. Give it a little bit different design. And then I'm going to add the lighter green behind that. And you can do either way, bringing the plate to your paper or the paper to your plate, whichever is easiest for you to work with. Like I said, since I normally work in the book and don't take my papers out all the time, it's easier to bring the plate to the paper. Yeah. But there we go. Got some juicy good colors in there. Let's see what we can add to it on this page. Let's go with our light blue again. And let's see, let's add our little polka dots, maybe not all over, just in some places. Good. I think we'll add some green back into that with our highlights with a stencil or something. Still want to do something with this to brighten up the background, but I don't know what yet, so we'll leave that for a minute. Don't know what I want to do with that one yet. Let's see if we can figure out something with this one. Let's put some green at the bottom here. Let's add a little bit of the darker blue at the top, just a little. And let's put some, yeah, we're going to have some green in that, but let's put some stencils or mask on this and see what we come up with. And I'm going to put the mask on the paper itself here. And should have done that before I put the ink on there. Let's see, where's my... Might have to put another layer by the time I get to finding everything I want here. It's just... Oh my goodness. Well, we are just going to throw it on and see what we get. I'm still looking for, yeah, some of those masks I wanted. Let's see if I can get anything. These are, that's bigger than I wanted, but, and since the blue is already down, I don't know that I'm going to get anything at all from this, but we'll see. too late to get any of those prints, but we did get a little bit of house prints on our background there. Let's let those dry before we do anything else. Where was the one that I said was needed a little bit more? This one here. Okay, these, if you use them real fast, you can sometimes get a print. It's not going to come out on this color, I don't think, but the acrylic, you can get a bit of a print off of them if you use them right away. Again, I told you in the other video that you can keep your little tub with wet paper towels if you want to wipe the paint off of anything. Actually, on these, I do wipe them a bit sometimes just so it doesn't build up, but I also like a little paint on them so that I can find them. But anyhow, let's see if we can get a ghost print of our houses on here. A little bit, not much. Again, I wait too long between layers or between putting my paint on and such. Let's see, where did I just put those stars that did not show up on this page? I'm going to take and go around them. Where's my blender brush? Blender foam right here. Let's see, let's use our light blue. And our stars will show up, but they will have our little variegated print in the background. And notice this is a translucent paint, so it's gonna, you're still gonna see the splashes behind there. Okay, next I think I will take, so I haven't used this yet, take this black paint pen and I'm just gonna loosely sketch around my house shapes here. Go around them a couple times each. They're wonky houses anyhow, so their outline is going to be wonky also. Now the paint pen will go over paint fine. Other types of pens you don't want to use unless your ink is completely, or your paint is completely dry. Let's see. Should we give a little door and some windows? Into our houses here. There we go. Let's see. While we're adding, we could trace inside of our stars here, make them stand out even more. make them even wonkier than they are already. It'll make this one really stand out more since it's on the darker. And there we go. We got a page that we can add to, subtract from, do whatever we want to later. Let's see, I was going to show you another thing that we can do with these. If I can find my houses again. What color would we like to add in here for our houses? Remember I said that if you use your acrylic mask really fast, you can transfer the paint. So let's use, to blend it in with our other, don't know if that's going to work, going over the green or not, but we'll see. Let's make that taller for our tall house. Press this into the paint and immediately press it onto the page. And we got a colored house. Do it again. If I didn't have the dauber paints for these ones, I would be brayering the ink out a little bit better. Remember, I want to get all over the house so far. There we go. And should maybe fold my page so I don't get it on the other page like I did all this other stuff. Let's see if we can get this side a little better. There we go. Okay, there. I got this stencil that I had cut that I think would work great to add some clouds in my background to lighten it up, but I don't want to use the stencil part, and I've had that one for a while, so I'm going to use something else. So if I hadn't already put the blue on, I could have just used this stencil and it would have left the white as the background for the clouds. But because I already did it, I am going to take the reverse part of the stencil and see if I can get my clouds added with that, with the white paint. Again, because this white is somewhat translucent, it may not cover completely, but it'll at least lighten up the blue in the background so that you can tell that it's clouds. Also, my stencil's not quite as big as my paper, so I might see what I can do by doing a little bit of adjusting here. And because those edges aren't brought in to closed, I'm going to have to work toward those edges. And let's move this over a bit to this edge. And add some more white paint. try to hold my stencil down. It'd probably work better if I pounced up and down instead of going in circles here. But let's see what we can get. There we go. Let's see. Add this little one here in the middle. Since I moved my stencil over, that kind of left a bare spot in the middle, but we can just add one in there. Alrighty. Gives us a stylized background, and like I said, we're just working on some wonky things here, some playing and having fun, not working to try to get any perfection out of anything. Let's see, while I've got this white on here, let's see, tone these down a little bit, maybe. Anything I want to add to that background, maybe take my really light green and my baby wipe. I'm going to give it just a little spritz of water since it's mainly dried out. Wipe it off just a bit, dab it in that green, and just add a little more color in here. And although you do want to leave some white space in your project, your white space does not have to be white. It just means that you don't want to saturate everything. So I would say we can call both of those done. This needs something, but the focal point might be enough when I decide whatever that is going to be. Let's see, where's our other ones? Got this. That definitely needs a little more. This needs a little more. Do I want to do it now? Think about it for a second. 3-second rule, can't think about it right now. We'll have to go back to it. This one, I think I want to add some white too. So, and so often on my triangle here, I end up using the comb or something to do stripes. So this time, let's do some circles. Just using an old cap here. And let's see what happens with that. Again, first pull. I don't want to push down too hard because we have more paint on there. Can do a second pull and push down harder this time. If you have a little bit too much juicy there where the paint's kind of glob, just bring in your paper towels, roll over it, and pick some of that up. And that lightens our page up. That had a bit of red on the back, so we're going to get a little red in there, but that's okay. And I may go over that again. with white, but for now we've got something there. Let's try again, because I want one more on there. Let's see if we can get this one a little bit brighter. There we go. And, oh yeah, I was going to put one more on there, so let's go for it. Let's see. I had another smaller cap. See, here I am again. Here, this is a smaller circle. This is a good reason why you can't make decisions take any longer than 3 seconds, because your paint's going to dry if you don't. So, there we go. Do I love it? No. Is it going to be okay? Yes. It's a background. It's a start of something. This one, I've got to add some white to that before I give up on it. Let's see, probably stick here with my triangle, because my circle has black paint on it and my square has red paint on it. And yep, I'm going to go back to comb type design. I'll use this small one. There we go. Again, go over that a bit to get that juicy edge off. Put another bit in. Whoa, too much paint. Let's pick some of that up with the sponge here. And let's go in with some different sized lines. Let's do some fine lines this time. And let's overlap them. And because we have so much paint on here, we can do that again. And let's use the circles again. Probably could have put these triangles all together to create a big star on here. But let's add little bits here and there. Let's add more little bits here and there. And more paint and more paint. We'll put it on the gel plate. Roll it out just a bit. Let's do it in a place that doesn't have red. Yep, we just keep adding as we think of things. And we may like them, we may not, it doesn't matter. I like what these are adding to our background there. Okay. I think this one needs a few little squares. Let's see, what color do I want them? Let's mix a little London blue with the white and see what we get. There we go. In my opinion, that helped that page. Maybe not in your opinion, but it doesn't matter. This is just all about what we like and what we want to do. I think I'm going to add a little more blue to that. Let's go with some diamonds inside of our triangles here. And I'm trying to kind of follow the lines of the triangle, but not real closely. I like that better. Still think that needs something, don't know what yet, so we throw it aside. Let's see, we're good there, good there. Yeah, good maybe there, maybe not. Let's add a few blue circles, the lighter blue. And as you see, we could just play on and on and on. So, good there, good there. Yeah. Oops, that's white. That's not what I meant to do. Or blue. Meant to add a little more white. Let's try going around this star here and here and here. Yep, I keep saying they're fine, and I keep adding more because that's what this is all about. Play, play, play. Okay, I am going to wipe this off a bit if I can find my baby wipe and find a clean place on it so I don't wipe it green. Just to make sure that whatever is on here is dry, because I want to add a few white polka dots to this one also. Except I don't see where I threw my white paint. There it is, fell over. Find a clean spot on some mat somewhere. a little bit in here. Like it. Yeah. Fine. Alrighty. We have 6 backgrounds completed that we can add. Some focal points to later. That might be a stamp, that might be a piece of ephemera, that might be more stenciling. If I was a wonderful artist, I might draw on here. Regardless, I may write something on here. One thing that we didn't get into was writing on here, and I just want to give you one tip. If you want to do some journal scribbling or asymmetric writing, that's writing that can't be read, like a lot of the stamps that you buy that are writing. You can tell that it's writing, it's a script, but you can't read what it says. A trick in doing that is to overemphasize your vertical strokes and to make your horizontal strokes very close to each other. You can either just write the shapes, combine the shapes that we use for letters, or you can actually write words. I know some people, Carolyn Doobie is one who says she actually writes real journaling. She's writing whatever she's thinking at the time as she's doing. It could be, oh, that made this page really ugly. But in the way that you write it, it's scribbling, and even you, let alone anybody else, could go back and read it. So it can be real journaling to get your feelings out. I think that's a great way to do, or it can just be writing something that isn't real as you're thinking your thoughts. And it's a way to process and get those feelings out, even if you're not, writing something that can be read later. So let's take a look at the other colorway on our pages here. This is our blue and green side. We saw our red and blue side. Now I can decide what order I want these to go in. And if I want the red and blue next to a green and blue, or if I want facing pages, I'll go through and decide what order I want them in. I can sew them together with my pamphlet stitch, and I can put them in my traveler's notebook cover. If this really bugs me, I could take my rotary knife or X-Acto knife and a edge and carefully cut those off so that they're all the same size. So now it's your turn to go play. Share with me what you make. Like I said, pretty has nothing to do with this. This has to do with staying on the playground and just enjoying the process regardless of the outcome, giving yourself permission to say, that's ugly, but oh well, I'll fix it later. And just permission to play, permission to make ugly, and permission to just feel the wonder of creating. So be sure to show your finished backgrounds to me on our MeWe group or Facebook group. You'll find more tips in the blog post that goes with this video, and I may or may not show you finished pictures yet this month. We're at the beginning of this month, so maybe I will. As you noticed, I used 3 pages. I could put that together with the 3 pages to do complete, just have a goal to complete one of these each month for a year. I could put 8 pages together, and that would give me 32 sides, and I could just say 10 minutes a day. I'm going to go in and do something to finish each page as a daily journal the dialogue from Diane Reevely. That's how it's done. And that was the Traveler's Notebook that I showed you that's already put together. It's got 16 pages, so 32 sides, so you've got room to put a calendar or thoughts about the month, and then a page each day to complete. So go have fun, peeps, and show me what you make. Till next time.